I think the girls with their nails done now.
Oh my god, Sashi!
The girls with their nails done.
Getting up peeking, and in fact, he's going to find the stall right away. Finds Kiku as well, and finds Lipa. Beautifully done here from Lavelle. Has this covered. Lavelle with the double, possibly one more. Can he find them? He's going to find the triple. Welcome, Saints Nation, for game number 3, or match 3 rather, in our tournament here for the Collegiate Cold War. And we're starting off swinging without wasting any time. It's going to be St. Clair College up against the KU Seahawks. And we're going to start things off on hardpoint here on Checkmate.
Yeah, so Checkmate, they were actually in this round 1 when they played Penn. And, you know, it looked kind of rough for them, but now they're going against an 0-6 KU Seahawks team. We were emphasizing that before the quick little break. And you know, if you're St. Clair here, you're in good positioning now because you played this map already today. You're warm. And we didn't get to really talk to you guys before we hopped right into things, but KU Seahawks is actually going to play 1 series, 2 maps against a very strong roster to start this whole, you know, whole tournament. And so they're pretty cold right now, where St. Clair, they're just going to keep banging games out in the losers, and they're just going and going and going. So they're going to take an early lead into this one, now leading by 30, as Sauce is just ready to come in here and mow some people down going into this point.
Yeah, they got that first hard point pretty good, got themselves some good points on the board. However, now trying to break into here, line them up. Let's see if Corius can finish the job here. It's going to help them push forward. And then again, to those who may not have joined us during game number 2, due to some inconsistent internet coming out from Captain and Coach Dawson Lavelle, we are going to have Nathan, Corius, NP coming in for the substitution. Really started coming in hot near the end of the last series, and looks like he's picking up pretty much right where he started. 5-0 to start off this next game here versus the KU Seahawks. Meanwhile, on the side of KU, we have Pharaoh, Valutopia, Crux, and Lolo. But unfortunately for them, they're basically just all showing negative. They're just constantly getting blasted down by our Saints.
Yeah, and you know, this is one thing we were really pointing out quite drastically right when the last game ended. Like, we were assuming that this game was going to be easier than their previous one, and you know, that really is showing right now in this beginning when Saints take a dominant lead right away, where this would not have flown against the previous squad we just played, right? So, you know, this is one thing we're talking about the seeding, on how it's so crucial for it to be a little bit more accurate rather than randomized. And the randomized seeding is going to now put St. Clair, I'm not going to like knock on wood here, but a fairly easy path to go on in top 16 and qualify. So, you know, at this point now, they are looking pretty solid going against this KU Seahawks team. Sauce on a 5 streak. He's 12-4. Brandon 7-2. Corey is 6-1. Priestley 8-5. They are firing on absolutely all cylinders.
And of course, your prediction here for game number 1, your fun little mini game, it's going to be basically top fragger between Sauce Nato and Brandon, who's going to get the most kills by the end of this game. Be sure to let us know via the Twitch chat using your channel points. Get involved and get some get some points for yourself, get some stonks, so to speak here. Priestley going to find himself the double now, 122 and counting for the Saints compared to 26 on the side of the KU Seahawks. And actually, Corius is going to eventually find one of the members on the side of KU, but then everybody else just absolutely mows them down. On the outside looking in, KU can't get anything started here right now.
Yeah, I mean, KU can't even really get a whole lot going, like you were saying, as Sauce and Corius and Priestley and Brandon, they just continue to feed. And there's nothing really getting them where, like, yes, Q-Crux will able to find 2 there, but, you know, he gets shut down immediately after. And, you know, if you're from the side of KU Seahawks right now, you are 6-13, your best player, 6-13, and that's where things just look kind of scary, you know? Like, you're nearly triple negative on that first player. It's so difficult for the side of KU Seahawks right now, as St. Clair is just going to continue to run up this hardpoint score.
Time and time again, it doesn't even matter if you're the one getting jumped on. Saints are just constantly outgunning every player on the side of KU at pretty much every single opportunity. They do sneak a couple kills in here and there. It's not completely flawless, but like Priestley's getting jumped on. He's just snapping on over and snapping heads, apparently, as well as the rest of the Saints. There's just an absolute crazy one. 10 streak, like you were saying. Priestley's already at 20 kills here in this game. It's only been a couple minutes. Absolutely love to see it if you're here for the Saints.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that one, right? And so now at this point, you're just going to have them just funneling in and just padding their stat line as they are about to take this one now. 226. They are just dominating, making it look actually so easy. I mean, if you think about it for the Saints, think about the few rosters they just went against. Such high caliber rosters. And now they go against this. It's almost like it's like, okay, guys, like we were playing all day to go against this? Like, all right, this is awesome now for us, right? You're in great positioning.
Yeah, not to say that this, like, it's not to the fault of okay, Sauce, okay. I thought he was going to find himself.
Come down.
Okay, Pharaoh finds himself a good tear, actually, here, going into the plane. Does take 2 of the Saints down, and is going to at least be able to contest this for a little bit. And, like, we may be kind of cursing out this KU Seahawks squad, but to be honest, it's not their fault. In all reality, like, they should have... one had a few more matches to maybe play up against, but just the awkward nature of how the tournament's been so far between the random seeding and the amount of forfeits that have been happening so far in the early stages, it really made things a little bit messy where you're starting to see these teams that are maybe just a little bit behind, like cold and like playing as if they were like a top seed, like getting that top seed treatment even though they haven't really got the chance to even show themselves off. So these guys have been sitting for a while, and it's definitely showing. Saints already breaking that 200 mark, while KU Seahawks sitting there at 50. And Priestley just going to do Priestley things, find himself a double, and Brandon going to find himself a double as well, and cleans up that point. And this should, in theory, be the game as long as they can hang on to this.
Yeah, and you know, just like you were talking about with the seeding and everything, right? Like, very first round, St. Clair Saints is going to get knocked down to the losers because they're playing a squad that's 5-1 in CCL. You know, so St. Clair being 6-0 in CCL, they should most likely be playing against teams that are maybe, you know, how base seeding works. Now, they get a high seeding and they play a low seed because of how hard they've worked to make a name for themselves. And, you know, it just seems like it's kind of hard for them right now to do that when, look at this, they're going to play what, a 5-1 team right away, and then they go into losers and they play a team that's also like 4-2, I think. So like they were playing really good teams, and now you go on and play these teams. I mean, yeah, like it's not KU's fault. I know we are very like favored right now because St. Clair is just completely stomping and doing so much good work, but it's not KU's fault. It's not St. Clair's fault. And we can't even really blame it all on seeding either way. There eventually comes to a point in time where tournaments where a good team will go against a team that doesn't have as great of a record, and you know things just develop and plays happen. So St. Clair are going to take that one very dominantly, winning by like I think 200.
Yeah, by at least, or maybe just under 200, because I think they're like 53 or something like that. But still, a very, very convincing game number 1 coming out here from St. Clair. And then, like I know that like we're just kind of beating to death the whole thing about organizing and seeding, but just to let everybody know, of course, Seeding 101. Be sure to learn this via the Esports Administration and Entrepreneurship Program at St. Clair College if you want to be in esports at some point in your life as a career. But fun little plug aside, nonetheless. So KU, they definitely have quite the work kind of cut out here for them. This St. Clair squad has just been tearing through them, to say the least. But maybe they could find some solace here in a slower paced game mode, because a lot of this was just strictly outgunning. Meanwhile, Search and Destroy, you can kind of be stronger tactically and get away with it. So we'll have to see if that is going to be enough of a difference to kind of save this KU squad. Otherwise, this one's going to be done nice and quick.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, St. Clair, they're going to win that first one rather dominantly. I would not be surprised for them to come out and do the same kind of thing in the Search and Destroy. They are pretty good at the Search and Destroy and everything like that. So I really would not be shocked there. But for anybody who did bet, Sauce will actually be your winner on the highest fragger for the side of St. Clair, beating out Brandon that time around. And, you know, we love having these little fun polls. It's a great new feature on Twitch so we can engage with you guys and actually get your perspective on things. It's a really cool way overall. But you know, we really appreciate everybody who's tuning in and supporting us right now throughout this qualifier tournament. And hopefully they can close this series out, close the next one out, and we'll qualify. No need to have another one next week.
Would be nice to just get the one and done. But anyway, we're going to hop in to game number 2. Just about to get started here. This time, of course, it's going to be on the Garrison Search and Destroy. Looking forward to seeing what the KU squad can pull out here. But it's not going to be a very good start for them, as it looks like Priestley picking up pretty much right where he left off and going to start tearing through some of the members of KU.
Yeah, and you know, St. Clair already opening things up, taking out Vile Utopia, taking out Krooks. And, you know, if you're St. Clair here, you're in a 4v2, you're in positioning to just continue to do what you've been doing this whole time along. Only players remaining now are going to be, I think that is Pharaoh and Lolo, or I don't even know how to pronounce some of these ones. But yeah, so KU, they're already at a 4v2 disadvantage, and they will spot Pharaoh there. And now they're going to spot the last one. That's a flawless round for St. Clair to open this one up on Garrison Search and Destroy.
Absolutely clean coming out here from St. Clair to start things off. Nicely done. And there's not really a whole much of analyzing that I can really do for that one. It was just exactly where they need to be, right when they need to be, taking care of it.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, they want to continue to do so. Corey's is going to find 2 in that first round, taking it to 2-0. And, you know, they're just going off right now. St. Clair, they are so warmed up, and they're so, like, just warm. That's one of the biggest words I can use to describe their roster right now, as they've just been playing and playing for hours on end. Yes, they did have that 2.5-hour break or 2-hour break, whatever it was, while we were waiting for that one match. But after that, you know, now that we're in losers, I mean, it's just match after match after match, and it's just straight COD. So glad to have you guys all tuning in to get a lot of this gameplay. You guys are not missing a whole lot of action. And, you know, KU, they are really just can't have an answer for him right now. But Corius, there he's going to be the first one to die here in this round, and now a 3v4, an advantage for KU. Hopefully they can try to get around on the board.
And sometimes it just takes one to get something started. And we'll have to see. Sure enough, they are going to find themselves another. It's going to be up to Brandon to try and 1v4 this. That's a fantastic way to start things off. And he's got to go hunting more than likely, because the bomb is not exactly in a very good position. I like what the Seahawks have done here. As long as they don't stack on each other, they have that bomb completely covered. They know where Brandon is. Now, how do they tackle it, or do they even have to tackle it? Technically, just wait by the bomb and force Brandon to come to you, which is exactly what he's doing, as he's going to get jumped on. Can he find Pharaoh? He's not going to be able to do so. The Seahawks getting on the board.
Yeah, 1-1 apiece now, and it's nice to see the KU Seahawks able to put up a fight, you know. I mean, as much as we do like to see the Saints win, we've said it even since when I first started casting alongside you, Danners, first started casting for St. Clair. We don't like to see blowouts every single time and time again, right? I mean, we like to see some good matches. We like to put out some good content that you guys can really enjoy. So, I mean, KU Seahawks putting up a good little battle here, that's what we do like to see.
Yep, they found themselves a good couple picks, and now they're going to at least keep this even. Back on the offensive side of things, however, there for the side of the Seahawks, where do the Saints opt to defend? Corius going to be submerging himself underneath the tank for this moment. Of course, one of the funnier jump scare positions, I always have referenced it, where you can just pop up and just nail somebody nice and quick. Sauce, we know he's around a couple players, but he just has the slightest of hunches. Lolo barely getting tagged, but wow. Now Sauce trying to run away. Hot pursuit. Can he get himself out of dodge? Not quite. Vile Utopia going to take him down. Correa is kind of stuck in a very similar situation. To be honest, these positioning here from some of the members on the side of St. Clair are definitely a little bit questionable. I do see what Corius is trying to do, and thankfully he got away with it. I really don't think he should have, but he's going to at least go 1-for-1 after a very aggressive flank, to say the least.
Yeah, and I mean, he should have found that one and fell off, right? You found that one initial pick to even some numbers up. After that, you're in that position. You maybe should have fall off. Krooks is going to get the best of Priestley there, leaving Brandon a 1v2. He was able to take out 2 last time around, so may be able to do so this time in the 1v2. But bomb is going to be going down by Pharaoh. Bomb planted, 40 seconds remaining. Brandon, he's going to have to act, and he's going to have to act quickly, trying to take these 2 players out.
I mean, last time he was in a 1v2, he did take down 2, so we'll have to see if he can maybe just rinse and repeat that and get there in time for that diffuser to, or at least get it off the board. Cheeky little play to take care of the barrel. Doesn't nearly find Pharaoh, but is going to end up going down after a solid flank from one of the members on the side of KU Seahawks. Going to give them the lead here in Search and Destroy.
Yeah, and this is going to be KU's first lead of the series, so you got to be feeling pretty good about that one, knowing that you have a couple rounds on the board in the Surge, and you actually do have a little bit of an upper hand over your opponent for the first time throughout this game. And I think the big thing from St. Clair right now is they're underestimating their opponents, and they're getting very aggressive, not playing like their typical play style, and I think that's what could hurt them here.
Yeah, when you start going for some of these like for glory flanking opportunities that are just like unscouted but just relying on strictly gun skill, you eventually run into too much and a little bit more than what you can chew. But Saints a little bit more standard this time by. They're going to find Pharaoh right off the start. So having the player advantage, we do have Sauce Bomb in hand, ready to go if needed. Priestley looking towards the high grounds. We just see Lolo nearby. Kind of knows that he's there. No shots fired as of yet. And bomb has been planted at the B site, actually. So, Saints in a solid position. As long as they can get themselves a post plant. And they have the two-player advantage now. So this one's looking a little bit rough here for the side of KU.
Yeah, and there's 28 seconds for them to get the kills and get the defuse. Now, leaving KU crew in a 1v4 and the palm down, it's almost impossible. Like, I would be astonished if he found a way to win this one. But as the time keeps ticking, it looks as he's just trying to get a kill, I guess, as whenever he can. So he will actually try to fight Brandon there, but Brandon will shut him down, tying this game up to a piece for KU and St. Clair.
It's funny what happens when you just play a little bit more standard and then you don't have to worry too much about finding yourself outnumbered. But solid, quick adjustment there. Maybe snapping themselves back into the swing of things, even though the coach may not necessarily be playing this time by, I'm sure he's probably still saying to the guys, it's like, hey, smarten up, get back into the game. Actually, I think he's still here at the Twitch chat, but still, at least the team was able to figure that out themselves.
Yeah, for sure. He is still in the call with them while they are playing. He is muted, however, just if you guys want a little bit of update on that. Dawson will still be, able to hear the comms. He's going to be able to coach them still a little bit. Like, he's not going to probably unmute and disturb their play as they're calling out and such. But, he can chime in after the fact and say, hey, this is what we think you guys did. I think you guys did well after watching through the stream. And this is what I think you did poorly, whatever it may be, right? So, I mean, overall, good stuff overall from him to make sure he's still in there with the roster. And, 3v3 now as even numbers Priestley and Vile both down. Quite worrisome if you're St. Clair having Priestley down, one of your great players.
That just means somebody else has to step up real quick. And especially as of right now, there are players with more more eliminations than him going into these final 30 seconds. As we do see, it's going to be Sauce and Corius with the crossfire. Brandon looking for any roamers. And then on the side of Sauce, we do see Pharaoh is looking towards that B site. Does he hear it? It's his time to shine. He's going in. Does find one, and Brandon found the other. So it's all going to come on down to Lolo, who's not going to see the flanking Sauce, and it's going to take him down. Saints take the lead back.
Yeah, 3-2. Saints leading now. 3 rounds away from closing out this series and going on to their last match of the night if they are managing to win this one. But, they're in a pretty good spot here now, taking the lead again, regrouping, playing how they normally play. Like we were talking about, no need to get aggressive just because you may find this team on a different kind of skill gap as you. Just keep sticking to what you've been doing and keep it up.
Absolutely. Now, with the Saints on the attacking side of things, let's see if they can extend this lead just a tiny bit further to do right along with Priestley. He's basically either getting first blood or getting first blooded. We do see him trying to find Foul Utopia, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Does find that nice quick pick. Poor Foul Utopia, he's not had himself a fun search and destroy here so far. 1 and 5 currently. Kruk's not doing too bad for himself, but he's going to end up going even after Brandon finds him. And another.
Yeah, so Lolo is going to be the last player alive now, and St. Clair going to win it. 4-2 lead for them, only 2 rounds away from closing this one out, as they are looking more dominant as the search and destroy game goes on. They do not want to let KU get a map. They want to shut this one down and hit the hay. They want to go to sleep. I mean, they've been playing COD now for 4 hours already. And, we still have another, what is it, like probably 45 minutes, I'd say, if we win this series. Yeah, we will be looking to advance here if they can just close out these last couple rounds. And, it looks like Brandon is just absolutely firing on all cylinders right now and doing so much work for St. Clair. Where you look at the other side of things, and Violotopia is having a hard time getting things going as he's going to fall right away already, now making that 1-6. And the other players, Lolo and Pharaoh, 2-4, 2-6. I mean, they're having a hard time here. Crew is really what's doing a lot of work for KU.
And for the Saints side of things, if there's one thing to say specifically about Brandon, it feels like he's just always consistently doing like pretty well. Like sometimes he has these games where he absolutely pops off, but I never really see him have like an absolute god awful game, if you know what I'm saying. Like he'll have like some losing rounds that okay, maybe he goes like close to even. We still see him on the board a couple of times, but maybe not as much. But like, he always seems very consistent here on the Saints roster, and you absolutely love to see it. As we do see Sauce mow down the last remaining member here of KU, cleaning up round number 5 for them. And just one more time before we get to hop into another matchup. And this time, it'll be the gateway to tomorrow's top 16.
Yeah, and at this point, what are they, 1 round away right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 5-2. Yep. So, they one more round and they get to go into their last match. Like you said, that door, that gateway into closing it out for the night and packing it in, making it into the league qualifying. And then if you basically make it through tomorrow, you've made your league qualified. So then at that point, once you're top 16, you're playing for that top 4 earnings, right?
Of course.
Those are big. I mean, you third and fourth gets 500 cash per player. And then first gets 2,000 scholarship per player, and second gets 1,000 scholarship per player. So overall, this prize pool is a $16,000 prize pool added up, and that is a lot of money to kind of work with overall. And
okay,
really St. Clair just gonna mow them down, win it 6-2, take this series 2-0, and we'll be heading into our very last match of the night coming up here shortly versus Niner Esports at UNCC.
Well, that was probably the most run-and-gun style of play that I've seen here from the Saints in a good little while as we switch on over to us for a second. But just absolutely brutal showing here from St. Clair versus KU, which, to be honest, like, it was kind of expected, right? We did like break it down a little bit during the pre-show and then a few times during like the first game that just with the way things rolled, it put KU in a very awkward position. And unfortunately for them, it ran into us, like, and it just didn't quite exactly go in their favor, of course. But granted, the fact that they're here in losers round 3, I'm just realizing that my overlay is trolling me. But yeah, of course, that was a losers round 3 matchup. But the fact that we actually even had the opportunity to play them, I mean, GG's nonetheless. But hopefully we'll see some improvement for the next time, nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, we are going up against a Niner Esports squad coming up here shortly. And, they're a little bit better than this KU roster that we just played. But overall, the first 2 matches we had were against stronger kind of squads than the squad that we're about to go against, the Niner squad. They're currently 146 in the CCL compared to St. Clair Saints, who are 11th in the CCL. Niner is 1-5 with their 1-match win coming against the squad of the CU Bruins. So, I mean, they've won 4 maps throughout this whole CCL, where St. Clair's won about 18, right? And they're 18-2 compared to the map count of Niner Esports. And, St. Clair, that's just going to definitely make them a favorite going into this one. They win this next match. We talked about it. They get top 16. They qualify for the league. And then at that point, you're playing for the prize pool, right? So really good overall from the boys over at St. Clair College, as now we get underway with the vetoes and everything going into Niner. But just one more thing from Danner real quick.
One thing I just want to really quickly say before we do end up closing out for this matchup is actually a shout out, of course, to the coach himself, to Dawson, because, of course, for it being an important tournament, and then like you're ready to play, but your internet maybe just a little bit like him and hawing, like a little bit of pack and loss here and there. It takes a strong leader to say, you know what? As much as I want to play right now, I'm taking myself out and putting the substitute in. He very well could have just like strong-headed it and says, nope, I am totally fine. I'm A-okay. My internet is completely doable. It's not pixelating on me or anything. And could have just went for it. But I have to just commend the Saints and commend Dawson for keeping Corius in here. If there is any sort of doubt towards the internet, as much as you want to play, it is just, it's awesome to see Corius get some game time, some important game time, and the fact that the coach is not super strong-headed that I have to be on the team or else I don't care about this team. No. So anyone who thinks otherwise can really shut it, can't they?
Yeah, and it's good to see, like you were just talking about, Corius. It's good to see him get some game time, some important game time, and it's good to see them win with him on the team, right? Like overall, like yes, it's good to see him in the game in general, but it's also nice to see him win the game. With
against a tough team too.
Exactly, for sure. It's not like you're going against some random, let's say 0-6 ECL team, whatever it may be. You're going against a team, I think they were like 5-1 or they're 4-2, something like that. Like they were a good, positive record, solid team, and it's good. I know my camera's bugging out here.
It's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, it was a good overall play, and that's what we'd like to see heading into the last matchup of the night coming up here next. Niner Esports versus your St. Clair Saints. Stay with us as myself and Danners will be right back with you guys.